So thanks again to Joel. I'm going to take the opportunity now to share with you a quick update about the NCCCO Foundation and what we've been up to. We've begun several different initiatives, new initiatives in the past year that I think will be of interest to you and hopefully everyone in the crane industry. And so we've also got a lot more planned in 2024, so I will touch on that as well. I want to start with just again reiterating our vision for our organization. So we are, a separate 501c3 nonprofit organization that's supporting activities related to CCO. But we do have our own vision, what we're trying to work towards. The board set this out last fall. And it really reflects what our goal is for the industry as a whole and helps the foundation determine, what we want to do in order to help achieve that vision. The mission, which is set out in our articles, really covers a variety of different things. But as you'll see, when I talk about what our goals are as an organization, we are really focused on the key things of education, research, and workforce development. And then as I further talk about the projects that we've started to launch and the things we have planned for 2024, you'll better see kind of the things that we're going to do to help achieve the mission, in turn eventually get to our vision. So our goals as set out again by the board are related to workforce development, education, and research. I will read these out, even though I know you can read, just to reiterate, where we're trying to focus for our organization. So related to workforce development, we're trying to improve public awareness of careers in the load handling industry and help share the skills and qualifications needed. For education, we're looking at disseminating and promoting information that improves safety, skills development, and career advancement in the load handling industry. So crane industry in general, load handling, we're covering a lot of different things in that statement. Research, facilitate research and data collection regarding safety, innovation, and workforce development in this industry. So again, you'll see as I talk through some of the things that we've started to do already, what that really means in terms of the kind of resources and information that we'll be providing as a foundation to the entire industry. So research, again, I'll start by covering every single one of the things that we're doing related to research, education, workforce development. However, we've spent the bulk of our time this year in 2023 around research. So I want to, again, our limited time, share with you some of the things that we've actually started to collect from our research and talk about the timelines for when we're going to get those reports back and be able to share those with you. So we have done some research related to safety, partnership with the National Safety Council on hazards, and then we've done some things related to the workforce perception, youth perception really, of this industry and their interest in or not of working in this industry with an organization called Tallow. And then we've actually recently started a huge national research effort with HUMRO that, again, I'll talk more about and give you a sense of what that looks like. Related to the National Safety Council research that we're working on, our goal with that research is really to gain a deeper understanding of crane operations risks, experience, utilizing technology, and then industry interest needs for safety content. So we looked out there, and I know there's been a bunch of other people have done that as well, to say, oh, well, let's find all the safety-related information for this crane industry. And the answer is there's not a lot of specific to the crane industry information. Director Ketchum shared some of the BLS data. Again, when we look at that, there's some holes in that as well. So we said, let's go and try to find that information out ourselves and go direct to the CCO certified operators out there to ask these questions. And so these are some of the things that we attempted to do in the national survey to really identify some of the top hazards, most frequent exposure, situational risks, contributing systematic factors, and then there was a relation to that to potential technology solutions. Again, and this is a real high-level overview, and I'll kind of lead with the end, which is to say we did a webinar on this information back in September. So that's currently available on our website if you want more detailed information about what the survey came out with. And then in November, we will have a more of an executive summary related to that survey that'll go out that'll cover a lot of this information. But to say in general, we sent this out to over 100,000 active CCO certificates. We had a participation over 2,000 people, which statistically gives us a very high probability of being representative of, what the responses of all operators out there. So what we did and what we came up with, what came out of this was essentially some of the key things in that upper right-hand quadrant. And I will kind of give a caveat here. We did this in the middle of the summer, so we are also looking at how we can best remedy that and determine whether or not, that everything here. But heat stress is obviously a huge one that came up a lot with everybody. In fact, it was one of the things that came up with most operators, identifying both their likelihood of exposure and some of the things that they've seen on their actual job sites in terms of potential injuries. And this is not related to severity. Please note that. Obviously, there's some real severe things that could happen, but this is really related to the amount of exposure that they got and the injuries that they saw on their job site. So in that upper right-hand quadrant, really heat stress, fatigue, struck by falling objects, and lightning strikes were the things that came up most often. And in that kind of matrix, what that says is essentially those are the items that we would, that would potentially, and the National Safety Council would potentially recommend taking action on. There's other things here, obviously, that were mentioned through this survey, but those things might fall in because of less likelihood or less potential for leading to injuries, would fall in kind of different categories in terms of managing it or monitoring it. And again, there's a lot more detail that's provided in the webinar, but I wanted to give you a snapshot of what you could be finding out there right now and what to expect in our executive summary report. A couple of the other things that came out of that, just to let you know, some of the top hazardous situations, as you might expect, identified were loading and unloading, vehicle pedestrian interactions, and working at height. Other items that came out of the survey were in-person and hands-on safety training and learning is preferred. Responses pointed to healthy safety cultures at most job sites or employers. The vast majority of the respondents were willing to try new safety technologies, though there were some concerns related to the implementation and the collection of personal data, depending on what kind of technologies you were talking about. More information, as I said, in graphs and recommendations are going to be available through that webinar, and then also in the executive summary that's going to come out in November. And then a larger report comparing this industry to other industries is going to be developed and going to be available probably early in 2024. So related to the other things that we're doing, again, we worked with an organization called Tallow. It's essentially a company that has a network of about 1.7 million mostly youth, high school, college-aged kids that are potentially interested in finding a job, just in general. And so we partnered with them to do a survey of their network, to really determine what they knew about the crane industry. Did they know anything at all? And if they did, what else did they want to know? Were they interested potentially in learning more about potential careers in the industry? And so what we found was a lot of really good information, maybe things that you might have thought of, but also things that we think will help us really determine what we can do to help encourage people to see this as a good potential career in the future. So again, we got a really good response rate to this, so we felt confident that the information we got back is pretty representative of at least, again, that youth population, high schoolers, college-age kids. But some of the things that came back, were that some of the respondents saw this as being a fun, challenging kind of career. Again, that's what they imagined. And an important, but also hard work, dangerous, and monotonous were some of the responses that came back for that. 23% of the respondents did not identified a career interest yet. And so there's an opportunity there. In fact, there's 44% that didn't identify any next step, so they didn't really know what they were going to do next. There's an opportunity there, meaning that there's not everybody's going to college, and we know that not everybody needs to go to college. Not everybody wants to do that as their next step. So there's really an opportunity here of a huge group that just doesn't know anything about this as a potential career. They see some other opportunities out there, and that's where, again, the foundation's looking to step in to say, what can we do to help promote this as a potential career, talk to them more about it. And what a lot of them noted was, can I learn more about what this career is about? What opportunities are in it? What are the benefits of it? Interested obviously in what the salary, the annual or the average hourly wage is. But that came after just understanding more about the industry in general. And I think that's where, again, we have not done enough to talk to them about this, to get at them earlier on, to even see it as a potential opportunity for them. So we are going to continue to work with Tallow to try to communicate with those folks. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But this was also provided a larger explanation about all of this was provided in a webinar that we did back in July. So again, that's also available on our website that you can take advantage of and freely use and look to see if there's more information that you might be able to use as you're an organization to understand what opportunities might be there to appeal to, again, to young people. In terms of workforce research, we've also started a large endeavor with an organization called HUMRO. They do this with all kinds of industries for the last 50 years to try to really help them understand who's in the workforce, what do they look like. So they've already started by kicking off, back in August, they did 9 focus groups with crane operators or signal people or anybody basically that was potentially working in and around cranes that was certified by CCO. We put out a call and asked, would you like to participate? They've put together these focus groups, and we're collecting the data from them. So I'm sharing here with you a little bit of the, real preliminary stuff that we've gotten back so far. What we're doing is taking this basic information that we've gotten back and put it into a larger survey. So hopefully, if it didn't go to your spam email, if you are certified with CCO, you should have received an email that says, complete a survey related to your experience in the workforce. And it's a pretty extensive survey that's asking all kinds of questions related to your experiences. And again, our goal is to get more information about what does this industry look like, so we can figure out what we can do with that information in order to encourage more people to be in it. So things like that were asked both the focus group and in the survey are, what aspects of the job do you like? What differentiates good versus excellent performance for people working in the crane industry? And some of the things that, again, that came back as top likes: interpersonal connections, career elements, meaningful, fulfilling work. But at the same time, dislikes came interpersonal connections, health, well-being, dislikes, and nature of the job. So obviously, there's a lot more detail within interpersonal connections and what that means. But this is, again, just preliminary data that came back from the focus groups. And then we're going to expand on that and combine it with this national survey that we're doing, again, to over 100,000 CCO certified individuals that have now received this survey. And again, we'll collect that information. HUMRO is going to compile that into a big final report that's going to be available early next year. And that will be able to provide, again, a slew of information related to all of this information, but also additional things that aren't listed here that we're trying to get, things related to salary, to primary role, to gender, to what language they speak, all kinds of different questions that we'll be able to provide, and we're going to provide that to the industry so you can better understand, again, who's working for you, who potentially could work for you, and how to appeal to them better. And again, some of that stuff is where we're going to really look next year to see what can we build on, how can we build on that and understand it better. So some of the other things that we're working on that I want to touch on related to education. For those who are at the ConExpo, I hope you enjoyed it. We were involved along with SCNRA, in putting together the crane and lifting education track, which was really, from what I'm told, one of the most well attended. So congratulations, and also one of the highest rated at Con Expo. So we're going to continue to work on that and work with SCNRA and AAM to continue to be involved in that and put on some other educational sessions in 2026. CTAG continues to operate. CTAG met earlier this year. They're going to continue to meet annually. Right now, we are receiving inquiries about most similar. We've received about 9 so far this year, but essentially have already been addressed by the current most similar directory that's available on our website. Some people just need some clarification about certain things. So there's not been any need for any further determinations right now by CTAG. So again, we're looking to continue that on, but right now CTAG is going to continue to meet about annually. Educational webinars, we've started these, like I mentioned, a couple different things that we've already done. I encourage you to look on our website to see what current webinars are and what future webinars are going to be. We have the annual Industry Forum, as you're here and you're aware of. And then OSHA Alliance, I was going to talk a lot about that, but Director Ketchum stole my thunder. So we are really looking forward to doing that. Again, a lot of the things that he mentioned already are what we're going to work on with them to try to create more, working together with them to create some more resources and information around safety, some round tables, some things that are going to create hopefully more interaction between our industry and OSHA, help to learn more from them, but also help to educate them and their employees a little bit more about this industry. And for those folks that are going out and doing inspections don't necessarily don't know as much as you all do, and so hopefully we'll have a back and forth exchange with that kind of information. So please look forward to 2024. We'll have more on that. And then workforce development, just to mention, we've got a couple outreach programs. We're expanded our veterans outreach program so we can recognize more veterans coming through the Skill Bridge program. These are people transitioning right out of the military, trying to get certifications as a crane operator so they can get a job in this industry. Again, we're doing outreach with Tallow, trying to learn more from them, provide some more messaging from them, and supporting the Lift and Move project or program under the SCNRF Foundation, and continue to kind of see what we can do to help there. But that said, we're really looking for 2024 to be the big opportunity for our career outreach. So as I said, all this work that we're doing around research is going to help lead to some bigger, let's call it development, what we're going to do in the next year, which is related to career and industry awareness. We're going to be developing a website, information, resources, videos, other things that are going to be hopefully the resource to say, if you want to know more about how to get in this industry, what it's about, how much you can make, what the opportunities are, here's where you go. And so the foundation will be building that in the next 6 months. So hopefully mid next year, there will be a resource that will be available to everybody to look at, to share, to get things off, to utilize for their organizations. We'll be looking at scholarships and trying to develop those. Safety information resources, again, through the OSHA Alliance, as well as some other things that we're going to start building based on the research that we've done with the NSC and what we need to target in terms of trying to help improve the safety of this industry, and then follow on research projects. What are the things do we need to do in order to build on the research? Do we need to dig in deeper in certain areas or other areas? And so that's the kind of stuff that we'll be working on. So in conclusion, again, this is a brief overview of the things that we've been tackling, but I do want to encourage everyone to take advantage of the resources that we're creating, and we're going to be creating more. So participate, please look at our webinars that we've already recorded that are on our website. Please look in the future for emails that you'll probably get, other things on LinkedIn that you'll be able to see in terms of webinars that are free to participate in, again, around all these subject areas. The industry safety research that I mentioned that's going to be coming out there, the workforce development information and research that's going to be coming out there soon. Again, all free, available, you to use, you to figure out if this is the things that you need. We want you to have that information in your hands. And then, hopefully take advantage, use that for your organizations, and then share that with other people. And we want to be a resource for this industry and hopefully the information that we're putting together will help do that. So that's all I have. Are there any questions for me or about the organization, about the foundation, what we're doing? All right, seeing none, I'm going to pass it over to our final speaker, Mr. Tom Sickelsteel.